today's show. I'll be sharing the latest Bitcoin technical analysis. We'll also be discussing spot Bitcoin ETFs to track investor interest despite the August outflows. And quoting the high priest of Bitcoin, Max Kaiser, during this cycle, for every $1 gold goes up, Bitcoin will go up $20. He also says, note, this applies to the whole cycle, not any particular day, week, month, or year. We'll also be discussing South Korean pension fund invest a whopping $32.5 million into MicroStrategy as the U.S. firm continues to gobble up the biddies. And we're also going to be discussing BNY, State Street, and JP Morgan Chase facing serious risks of bank runs along with 91 major U.S. lenders. I'll be breaking down this latest report. We'll also be discussing U.S. Marshals likely selling the Silk Road Bitcoin, at least according to this lawyer. We'll also be discussing how the Bitcoin price can explode by up to 3x this cycle, taking the biddy price to roughly 180,000 per coin, according to Real Vision analysts. We'll also be discussing Bitcoin veteran Adam Back says Bitcoin's in the early bull market phase and can explode by over 700% to 500,000 per coin or more. I'll be sharing his timeline. We'll also be taking a look at the overall crypto market. All this, plus so much more in today's show. If you're new to the channel and the stream, very important to smash those likes and subscribe. It's free to do so. And then hit the bell icon, turn on all notifications. That way, at least you get notified each and every day when I go live. Today is pod episode 1733. I'm your host, JV. It's August 17th, 2024. Bitcoin's looking to recapture 60,000. The current line in the sand is a major psychological resistance, which we need to recapture. Let's see if we can capture it before the end of this week's close, which is in a little bit this evening and probably in like a couple of hours. But yeah, let's kick it off with our market watch as we do every day. We can see Bitcoin trading above 59,600, looking to retest 60 Gs. We have Ether down 0.11%, also correcting, maintaining, I should say, above 2,600, while Solana, XRP, Cardano, and Tron all pumping and in the green. And checking out CoinMarketCap.com, we can see there's currently a 2.09 trillion total crypto market cap and 1.174 trillion Bitcoin market cap. We have roughly 38 billion worth of volume in the past 24 hours, meaning down 45%, with the Bitcoin dominance 56.2% and the Ether dominance 15.1%. And checking out top 100 crypto gainers past 24 hours, we got Clay up 14%, Helium up 9%, and Jasmine up 5.5%. Below that, BNB, Phantom, and Rune. Which alts, if any, are you bullish on? Let me know, and I'll read those comments out loud in between the stories. And checking out the crypto bubbles, we can see finally a lot more in the green overall as far as the altcoins are concerned. Maybe safe to say 50% of the market in the green today, 50% in the red, roughly. And zooming out on the monthly for a broader perspective, unfortunately, 95% of the market wreck city, as you can see. And checking out the crypto greed and fear index today, we're all the way back down in extreme fear at a 25, which is a good sign. We're about to pump. Typically in extreme fear, we get a nice pump. Now, yesterday was a 27, last week a 40, and last month a 61 in greed. My question for you guys, when the traditional markets open up tomorrow, do you think we'll resume the bullish momentum and capture 60,000, work our way back towards 70,000? Do you think we'll be corrective? Do you think we'll continue trading sideways for a little longer? Let me know your thoughts. And again, I'll be reading everyone's comments out loud. Welcome everyone to the stream. Have a Friday Oracle. TGIF. Shout out Heidi. What up? Billowette. Good to see you. Crypto Surge. What's the good word, brother? Good to see you as well. Smash the like, subscribe, repost on X. That's the Holy Trinity right there. Smash the like, subscribe, repost. Boom. Thank you. Best pod on the interwebs. Thank you, Little Germ. Fear equals the FOMO. That's right. 100%. Extreme fear just below 60 Gs is super bullish. Exactly. Good point. We're at 60 Gs and we just got a 25 in extreme fear. A nice pumpy pump at this level can take us right back towards price discovery. Current price discovery is sitting at 73.8, which we captured back in mid-March. JV's weekly close tomorrow. Oh, today's Saturday. Why am I thinking Sunday? You're right. Thanks for the correction, Ronan. For some reason, half my mind is correct, the other half is wrong. Because earlier I'm like, UFC tonight, every Saturday night. And then I'm like, oh, we get a close, but it's only Saturday. You're correct. So no weekly close for Bitcoin until tomorrow. Hey, JV, I'm doing deliveries and watching the greatest show on the tube. Love your brother and CNA fam. I'm doing the good. Enjoy yourself out there, brother. And thanks for tuning in. Do you think you're going to have another dip soon? Dips are buying opportunities. And yeah, virtually every day there's a dip. How big of a dip are you anticipating is the $1 million question. But every day we pump and dump, virtually every day. So you can expect more of that. A lot more extreme volatility, family, especially at a time like this in the cycle. Happy 420. It's actually interesting. It's 417. And then there's 416 viewers, but we're approaching 420. So I'm calling it now. Fear, that's for the poor. Exactly. Fear is how they keep you poor. 100%. You nailed it with that one, Greg. Welcome, brother. Kamala's up 10%, translates into a 20% dip. Here's what I got to say about that. When they share in the lamestream media, the polls, that's all fudged. Meaning, remember in the 2016 presidential election, and it was like 95% Hillary, 4% Trump. Trump doesn't stand a chance. Then what happened? He won the presidency. So take anything you hear from the lamestream media with a grain of salt. And also, disclaimer on this podcast, no financial advice given whatsoever. This is an entertainment-based show for entertainment purposes only. Also, just like the lamestream media, anything I say, take with a grain of salt. TradeFi isn't piling all this money into Bitcoin without big expectation, 100%. You already know. They're not stupid. Good morning, Laura. Good to see you, family. I appreciate you tuned in to the stream. 60 G's. Can I get a 60 G's? Bitcoin. But I don't sweat it because it's just pathetic to let it get me involved in that sell on the dip crowd. Sell on the dip crowd. Dip sell, dope sell, no sell, no Bitcoin sell. I'm no sellout. Bitcoin. Roger that. And shout out El Brandino Martinez. Greatly appreciate you, brother. Shout out to the Huddle House Studios as well. Make sure you're following Huddle House Studio on X along with the Orange Pill podcast family. Shout out CW Bath. Not every August, September is red for the biddy, but statistically, they're the 2 worst months on average. Thanks for the repost. Just reposted the comment. And Matt McCrae, he put bullish. Appreciate you, brother. And anyone else who reposts with a quote, I'm going to repost your quote of the stream, and I'm also going to follow you and shout you out during the live stream. So it's much appreciated. And by doing this, we get a lot more eyeballs on stream. Near-death experience put in the last 10 years, the Bitcoin commodity obtained a 67% compound annual return. Beats inflation. Winner. There you go. New world reserve currency named BTZ. I appreciate that. I just reposted it, brother, because he posted it as a comment on the stream. So all comments and reposts with quotes will get reposted during today's live stream. Even if you're watching after the fact, let's say 2 hours pass, I'm no longer live, I'll go back and repost anyone who shows me love. I appreciate it. The polls are generally 3 to 5 basis points in favor of Dems. And polls, you can add 3 to 5 basis points to the Repubs. Thank you, Oracle. I remember being at the end of the last bull run, before 69 was sitting at 38 Bitcoin on exactly. We were stuck in that range for it felt like forever. Come on, 60 G's. We're so close. I'm with you. Seems good to have a low fear greed index, but the number's still high, 100% on that, Matt. But anyways, let's continue with today's Bitcoin astrology for the broskies. That's right. Here we go. Here's the latest TA, family. And actually, I'm also going to be sharing regarding these ETF inflows, but we're going to go right into the live charts today, switch it up a bit here. So here you're looking at the 1 hour chart. Let me switch the scene so it's even cleaner. And Nat, please remove yourself from my airspace. Thank you. So yeah, we're trading at roughly 69,500 at the time of the recording. This is the 1 hour chart brought to you by Coinbase via TradingView. We do have a target sitting all the way down at $53,400. And zooming out, we'll get different looks and perspectives for you guys. Here is the 4 hour live chart. We do have an increasing momentum here. Yeah, I mean, we did bottom out at, I think that was 49. all the way back maybe about a week ago now. Yeah, you can see where we bottomed out. Let me see if you can see it on the screen. Yep, you can see it on your side as well. And then we've been building momentum. Obviously, we climbed back to almost 60, and then we've been trading sideways, and we're right on the cusp of retesting 60,000 virtually any moment now. And zooming out on the daily, this is the one-day chart. You can see last 2 days have been green, which is good. Hopefully, we continue with this momentum and reclaim that 60,000 psychological resistance. And there is a target to be aware of, though, on the daily, sitting at $47,700. And zooming out a little broader, we'll check out the 1 week, which has that cup and handle sexy target sitting all the way at $125,500. Send it. A question for you guys. Do you think we hit 125,000 this year in 2024? Yay or nay? Let me know. A, including you, Chandy. Let me know if you think we'll hit that target. A. And we'll also zoom out a little further and check out the monthly. As you can see right here on your screen, we did have 7 green consecutive monthly candle closes, followed by a corrective red, green, corrective red, green, corrective red. So it's been red, green, red, green, red, green. We'll see where the month of August is likely to take us heading into September and go from there, family. And then we have October, November, December, fourth quarter amongst us as well. I think bullish momentum really picks up in the fourth quarter. I have very bullish targets. I think we'll surpass, 100,000. You know what I mean? And then heading into 2025, I think we'll hit the cycle peak, multiple 6 figures. We'll dive into that, those predictions a little later on in the stream as well. But I also want to read you the ETF inflows. So let me switch back to the news scene for you guys. Should be able to see here. So this headline reads, spot Bitcoin ETFs attract investor interest despite the August outflows. As you can see, U.S.-based spot Bitcoin ETFs have continued to attract investors' interest despite the outflows earlier in August. On the 16th, which is yesterday, data from SoSo Value revealed that the total weekly net inflow for the spot Bitcoin ETFs reached 32.5 million, in contrast to the outflow seen the previous week. And on August 2nd, the net outflow for the spot Bitcoin ETFs was 80 million, while on August 9th, the outflow reached 169 million. However, a total net inflow for the spot Bitcoin ETFs on August 16th reached 36 million, despite the outflows of 73 million from the Grayscale Bitcoin Trust on the same day. While GBTC has been experiencing a continuous hemorrhage of funds, other spot Bitcoin ETFs are seeing regular inflows. So it's just really GBTC with all the massive outflows. And according to the data, historical net outflows from GBTC stand at almost $20 billion. At one point, they had over 600,000 Bitcoin. They've sold the majority of it already. And in contrast, the Grayscale Bitcoin Mini Trust ETF saw no outflow on August 16th, maintaining its total net inflows of 288 million. The decline in GBTC's fortunes coincide with the NYSE ARCA's decision to pull back on a proposed rule change that would have enabled the trading of GBTC and similar crypto ETFs. Meanwhile, Fidelity and BlackRock are clearly in the lead, recording the highest net inflows on August 16th with 61 million plus. This brings its total historical net inflows to $9.8 billion. BlackRock's iShares Bitcoin Trust ETF also saw significant net inflows of 20 million the same day, bringing its historical total to above 20 billion. The continued positive inflows into spot Bitcoin ETFs come at time when their total net asset values now stand at $54 billion. The ETF net asset ratio, which represents the market value of the ETFs as a percentage of the total market value of Bitcoin, is currently 4.6%. Historical cumulative net inflows have reached 17 billion, further illustrating the growing acceptance and integration of spot Bitcoin ETFs in the broader investment landscape. And on August 14th, the US SEC is filing reveals Morgan Stanley also now holds 188 million worth of shares of the spot Bitcoin ETF. And I don't think these inflows are going to slow down. I think they're going to continue to gain traction like a, what is it called? Like a snowball. You know what I mean? Like a snowball effect down a mountain. And quoting the high priest, Max Kaiser, he wrote, during this cycle, for every $1 that gold goes up, Bitcoin will go up $20, 20 to 1, family. Note, this applies to the whole cycle, not any particular day, week, month, or year. And eventually everything goes to zero against Bitcoin, but In gold's case, we're talking 99%, not 100%. Now, also, someone shared here, breaking news, Kamala Harris threatens to confiscate businesses and private property as president. She is literally trying to become a dictator. And then Max responded, buy and properly store as much actual Bitcoin, not Bitcoin ETFs, because they can be confiscated, as you can. So if you decide to leave the country, you can take your wealth with you with unconfiscatable, uncensorable Bitcoin. The high priest has spoken. I agree with this sentiment 100%. I don't trust Kamala. I don't trust anyone as far as the government is concerned and in the government, because they can steal your Bitcoin. They can confiscate your Bitcoin the same way they confiscated gold in the 1933 Gold Confiscation Act. Don't put it past them. Anything is possible. We're dealing with satanic forces. I'll refer to as the forces of evil here. But let me know if you agree there with Max Kaiser regarding the sentiment, as well as for every dollar gold goes up, Bitcoin will 20x it. Let me know your thoughts. Let's discuss these pension funds. This is a big one, actually. I also shared it yesterday, but different article source. South Korean pension fund invests $32.5 million in MicroStrategy as the U.S. firm continues to gobble up the biddies. That's a pretty lit photo, by the way, with all the crystals, the amethysts with the Bitcoin. Don't get no more lit than that. You got Bitcoin and crystals? Yes, please. South Korea's National Pension Service now owns more than $32 million worth of MicroStrategy shares after investing in a Bitcoin-friendly U.S. firm. Confirmed earlier this year. The pension service reportedly manages $764 billion. That's almost $1 trillion, yo. Pretty wild, worth of assets at the end of last year. They have accumulated 24,500 MSTR shares as of June 30th, according to security filing. I'm telling you, I think these pension funds alone can send Bitcoin to the multiple six-figure territory. I mean, look how much money these companies manage. That's a lot of money, a lot of wealth. Almost $1 trillion, right? 1,000 billion is $1 trillion. So this company has $750 billion, and they're now buying Bitcoin. Now, in July, the business intelligence firm announced a 10-1 stock split of its Class A common stock, referring to MicroStrategy, and Class B common stock to make MicroStrategy stock more accessible to investors and employees. That means the National Pension Service now owns 245,000 MSTR shares, worth $32.5 million at this current time. The National Pension Service also invested in Coinbase stock last year, buying 282,000 shares in the crypto exchange as of December 31st of 2024. The pension fund has gradually decreased its, and I think they mean 2023 clearly, because we haven't had December of 2024 yet, but you gotta love typos in articles. The pension fund has gradually decreased its coin holdings this year, now owns 229,800 shares worth $47 million. MicroStrategy is the world's largest corporate holder of Bitcoin with a trove of 226,500 biddies, currently worth more than $13.38 billion. The firm purchased its Bitcoin at an average price of $36,798, according to a quarterly press release. Let me know what your average buy is for Bitcoin. Is your average buy lower than 36, higher than 36? Holla. And quoting the MicroStrategy CEO Feng Li, on the adoption front, we are extremely optimistic when the improved understanding of Bitcoin and the increasing support for the ecosystem from bipartisan politicians and institutions on display at the Bitcoin 2024 conference in Nashville. So there you have it, yo. Do you think more pension funds will follow in the lights of the South Korea National Pension Service and stack the biddy and get some exposure to the biddy some way, somehow? Next story of the day, family. Let's discuss this bank run. Warning, warning. BNY, State Street, and JP Morgan Chase facing serious risk of bank runs, along with 91 U.S. lenders. Here's the highlights from this report, family. If only keeping the bank what you can afford to lose, you've been warned. A total of 94 U.S. banks are at significant risk of experiencing bank runs by uninsured depositors if they show financial weakness, according to this report. Check it. An analysis from Florida Atlantic University finds the billion-dollar banks in question, which include 7 U.S. financial giants, have all reported a 50% or higher ratio of uninsured deposits to total deposits. The university's liquidity risk from exposures to uninsured deposits index shows BNY Mellon has a 100% ratio of uninsured deposits, a 100% ratio, followed by State Street Bank at 92.6%, Northern Trust at 73.9%, Citibank at 72.5%, HSBC Bank 69.8%, and JP Morgan Chase, we all know Jamie the Tapeworm, the CEO, at a 51.7%, and U.S. Bank at 50.4%. Not a good look, banking cartels. Now, meanwhile, Florida Atlantic University finance professor Rebel A. Cole, what a cool name. His name is Rebel. And don't get no more lit than that, says the banks are more vulnerable to liquidity crisis because uninsured depositors are motivated to withdraw their funds quickly if they perceive any risks to the bank's stability. You have been warned, family. Quoting them here, the first bank failure of the year, Republic First Bank in Pennsylvania, was number 87 on the previous quarter's list with a 51.5% ratio. All the banks on this list are at a serious risk of a run by uninsured depositors should they exhibit any weakness from commercial real estate exposures or unrealized losses on securities. Although FDIC-insured banks promise up to $250,000 will be protected in the event of the collapse, as you see that in the bank, they always have that sign, don't worry, you're secured by the FDIC up to $250,000. You got to keep in mind the Federal Reserve and Treasury Department used a systemic risk exception to make all depositors whole. In the last year, high-profile bank failures of Silicon Valley Bank, Signature Bank, and the First Republic Bank. So in this year's failure of Republic First Bank, the FDIC quickly arranged for Fulton Bank to assume all deposits. Now, here's why you can't even be so sure that your money is safe. What if there is a legitimate bank run? Let's just hypothetically say everyone goes to the bank, just like a Ponzi scam, like BitConnect, same concept, right? But the bank doesn't have the money to give it to you. So even if they have FDIC insurance, if they don't have the money, how are you supposed to receive it back? I personally don't trust the banks, never have, never will. Buck the banks, buck the Fed, Bukele-nomics, stack the biddies, and let's freaking go. But anyways, next story. Let's discuss Silk Road. We discussed those 90-plus banks potentially could be bank runs. So again, only keep in the bank what you can afford to lose. Now let's discuss the latest of Silk Road. The other day I shared that an analyst says they're not selling the Silk Road BTC, referring to the government. But this article is the opposite. U.S. Marshals likely selling Silk Road Bitcoin, according to the lawyer. So let's discuss this lawyer. United States finance lawyer Scott Johnson has said the U.S. Marshal Service is almost certainly in the process. He says certainly of selling Bitcoin seized from the infamous Silk Road marketplace. Johnson's assertions are grounded in a service agreement signed between the U.S. Marshal Service and Coinbase in June. And according to Johnson, the agreement indicates that once Bitcoin reaches Coinbase Prime, it is a clear sign that the U.S. Marshal Service has either sold or is about to sell the asset. And that was the red flag just the other day, a few days ago, maybe 2-3 days ago. They actually moved like 10,000 Bitcoin or something like that. And then there were rumors, are they going to sell? Well, according to this lawyer, they are going to. Johnson explained the U.S. Marshal Service has been sending Bitcoin to a custodial address in accordance with the agreement terms, quoting him here, given the agreement requires U.S. Marshal Service assets remain completely segregated, which is separated, whenever a transfer is ultimately made to Coinbase Prime or other commingled exchange addresses. You can be sure that the U.S. Marshal Service has already sold or is selling immediately. So he's 100% convinced. I kind of tend to agree. I'm not optimistic that they're not going to sell, especially when it's moved to an exchange. Formal confirmation. So, for example, if they weren't going to sell, they would have just moved it into cold storage or something. But then people say, but they had the agreement. Well, it's an exchange. Exchanges are designed to trade. So just FYI. Formal confirmation of the transactions will come at the latest with the Department of Justice Asset Forfeiture Program report for the fiscal year of this year, 2024, expected in January. Johnson also hinted at political motivations behind the timing of the sales, suggesting the administration of Biden might continue these actions without pause. And is it a coincidence all of this Bitcoin from Silk Road moved to Coinbase? Pretty much 2 days or so, it started to move after Trump gave a speech in Nashville that they're going to stockpile the biddy for the United States of America and not sell any of their Bitcoin. What are your thoughts on that? However, there's contradictory views. Not everyone agrees with Johnson's interpretation. We have Ryan Lee, chief analyst at BitGet, believes that despite the initial concerns, the Silk Road biddies is unlikely to be sold. So what are your thoughts, family? Will they sell or not sell? This standoff is, in opinion, reflects the broader uncertainty and speculation of the crypto community regarding government-held Bitcoin and its potential market impact. According to on-chain analytics firm Arkham Intel, the U.S. government transferred $600 million worth of Bitcoin to Coinbase August 15th, and the Bitcoin was sent to Coinbase Prime. Historically, the large transactions by significant holders, known as whales, can have a substantial impact naturally on the Bitcoin price. Here's a historical context. The U.S. government is currently the largest geopolitical hodler of Bitcoin, a fact underscored by Trump. Trump, who is the Republican Party's 2024 presidential candidate, pledged not to sell any of the U.S. government's Bitcoin holdings if reelected. Adding another layer of complexity to the issue, the 10,000 biddies recently transferred were originally seized during the Silk Road raid in 2022. In that operation, the Department of Justice announced the seizure of 50,000 biddies from the darknet marketplace. This significant on-chain movement of funds follows another major transfer in April when the U.S. government moved $2 billion worth of the biddy seized from Silk Road. So there you go, yo. What are your thoughts? Sell? Not sell? Holla. But anyways, let's continue with our bullishness, this headline reads, here's how Bitcoin could explode by up to 3x this cycle. According to Real Vision analyst Jamie Couts. That's right. Jamie Couts believes that the Bitcoin price can reach a six-figure price during the current cycle. I mean, to me, that's a given, but nonetheless, he says that compared to the previous bull cycle witnessed in 2017 and 2020, Bitcoin is likely to record diminishing returns this time round. And he said Bitcoin rallied 19x in 2017. Whoa. That was my intro. That was my inauguration into Bitcoin 2017. It was a pretty magical year, family. How many of you were here then? I recall when I joined or got started with Bitcoin, it was 1,500 a coin. And then by the end of 2017, December, it was like almost 20 G's. It was like, what? And then 6x in 2020. How many of you got started in Bitcoin for that cycle? But it is only likely to go up between 2 and 3x this cycle, according to this analyst. On how Bitcoin can go up 200% this cycle, here's what he shared. For Bitcoin to meet this target, the US dollar index, which is the DXY, would need to be well below 101, prompted by ongoing central bank injections. The DXY is a measure of the US dollar strength against a basket of other large global currencies. When the DXY is falling, it indicates that the US dollar is weakening against other major currencies and vice versa. The DXY is currently at 102.65. Couts also says that his global liquidity model, which predicted a 75% chance rally for Bitcoin in November of 2023, is flashing bullish once again, as he shares here alongside the chart. The central banks are capitulating, the liquidity spigots are opening, and Bitcoin is about to go much higher. Send it, yo. Now, according to the Real Vision analyst, the Bank of Japan and the People's Bank of China have contributed 41% of the global liquidity added over the last month. Quoting them again, over the past month. The Bank of Japan and People's Republic of China Bank have added 400 billion and 97 billion, respectively. The broad global money base credit has expanded by $1.2 trillion, which has significantly been aided by a sharp decline of the US dollar. This suggests that it is a coordinated with the Federal Reserve's consent. So there you have it, yo. What are your thoughts? 2 to 3x this cycle? I think that is more of my personal bare opinion, but hey, even a 3x is 180 G's, baby. Bitcoin could 98x. It can. Bitcoin has no top. Fiat has no bottom, like it did in the first halving of 2012. Why? Empires, nations, countries, states, ETFs, pensions, private, public, corporations, you, me, JV, Greg, Judson, Dan, Bitstick, DNA, The Oracle, Chanty 10 Music, Kathy Wood, Max Kaiser, Stacey Herbert, you know what I mean? Ricardo Salinas, third richest man in Mexico, but not for long. He's going to become the #1 richest. Just saying. Who else are we forgetting? Mikey Saylor, MicroStrategy, hey, BlackRock, Fidelity, Lawrence Fink, Now for our feature story of the day. Bitcoin veteran, the one and only Adam Back, says Bitcoin is in the early bull market phase and could explode by over 700%. I'm going to break down his timeline. I got a lot of respect for Adam Back, of course. He is a legend, a true OG in the space. The Blockstream chief executive, Adam Back, says the Bitcoin remains in the early stages of an ongoing bull market cycle. In a new interview with Anna Tutova, the CEO of Coins Telegram, the longtime Bitcoin vet says Bitcoin could potentially soar more than 700% from the current value this cycle. Take that, bears. Quoting him here from the interview. We're still in the early stages of the bull market, I would say. I see that BitMEX founder Arthur Hayes Just Blaze was predicting 1 million per Bitcoin by the end of the cycle. Others or other people have said 500,000. So anything in that range, I think it's possible. Yeah, man. Back says one of the bullish drivers for Bitcoin is the length of time investors are holding onto the digital asset by market cap, the top digital asset by market cap, as well as shares in the Bitcoin ETFs. Now, he also shared in the interview, when new money comes into the biddy, the market cap increases. But the new money doesn't have to be nearly as much as the market cap increase because price is set at a margin, and there are not necessarily that many Bitcoins on the exchange. He makes a good point. He continues. So as new users buy up those coins and cold store them in a hard cold storage device, or the ETFs buy them and store them with a custodian, such as a Coinbase, it'll tend to push up the Bitcoin price. You know, $1 million, it might increase the market cap by 50 million or 100 million. It really depends on the type of buyer. So if the buyer is buying Bitcoin and holding it for the long term, where my long-term hodler is at, diamond hands and laser eyes, make some noise, then it has a bigger effect. And of course, there are the Bitcoin holders who have learned over the time to buy and cold store and not trade too much. Now, what we didn't know was how the ETF investors would behave. But the evidence so far is that they hold. So when the price fell a bit, not many ETFs were sold, actually. And shout out to the OG with the backwards cap, keeping it 100. And if you want to listen to this actual interview from the podcast with the OG himself, Adam Back, making the bullish prediction of Bitcoin soaring 700% or more for this particular cycle, check the show notes below the video and in the description, and let me know your thoughts. Do you agree with Adam Back? Do you think 500,000 is in play, which is virtually a 700% pump from here? It's on the cusp of 500,000. And as Arthur Hayes Just Blaze pointed out, can we potentially even get to 1 million this cycle? We also have Samson Mao of Jan 3 predicting still 1 milli for this cycle. So let me know your thoughts, and I'll read everyone's comments out loud. Welcome to the Q&A segment of the live stream. Greg put, BLX weekly, Bitcoin goes up an average of 2 fib levels. Post halving, the 1.114 fib sits at 400,000. The 1.236 fib sits at 3 million. All possible by the next halving of April of 2028. That's right. Next halving will occur approximately in April of 2028. Send it. I'm so ready, family. Send it a couple of fibs up, 3 milli. Sign me up. I'm ready. Diamond hands, laser eyes. Shout out Dan Carden. That's what's up. iBit has yet to have an outflow, and they are by far the largest of all the Bitcoin ETFs. That's right. They now hold the majority of the Bitcoin as far as major asset managers are concerned. But keep in mind, Coinbase is the custodian. So Coinbase is holding on to a lot of bitties right now.